Hi everyone, Evan DeZonia here again. I hope everyone's doing well these days. I wanted to share with you guys a little lesson that I do a lot with guitar students, and it's all about finding the note names across the fretboard. Okay, if you guys have done tab when reading music, you'll know that it sort of gives you the fret numbers, and it sort of gives you where to play that on the guitar pretty easily. But when we need to read things like standard notation, okay, think of like a piece of music that any instrument could read, like a piano or a violin. It gets a little challenging for us on guitar because we have oftentimes more than one middle C, or a couple different hand positions and things like that. So reading music for guitar has its own challenges. Now, the first step, though, is to find all the letter names, the pitch letter names, that is, across the fretboard. It's a very big job, but we're going to look at a couple of ways of memorizing them, a couple little strategies to make this a little easier. So first things first, make sure you're very familiar with the string names themselves. Now, I don't mean the string numbers, I mean the string letters, okay? So starting from the bottom to the top, right? Bottom is closest to the ceiling on the guitar, and top is closest to the floor. It's upside down. But we have low E, A, D, G, B, and high E. All right, now we have a whole bunch of phrases to help us remember that. We have eat a darn good breakfast every day. All right, good advice. And there's a whole bunch of other ones. I know a few students have tried to come up with their own, and they all worked. They're sort of funny. So maybe if you think of your own to memorize the strings, that's great too. So let's just start with the low E, okay? And we'll kind of figure out how this works. So, great, we know the string name, and that's the best place to start. But how do we learn which fret is which? Well, enter my photorealistic drawing of a piano keyboard, all right? Now, if you have a piano at home, great. If you don't, and maybe you're not familiar with a piano keyboard, you could even pause this video and sort of write your own, and we'll go through it, and we'll see how it sort of lays out on the guitar. So first of all, white keys, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, where it restarts. Black keys, in this case they're blue keys, I know, but they're dark. So remember, when you have a black key, it tends to have two names. So if you're going up, you add a sharp. So this note can be a C sharp. Or if you want to go down, you make it a flat, so D flat, okay? D sharp, E flat. Not too bad. Now, the important thing is, you see there's no black key or blue key between the E and the F and the B and the C, which is very, very important. So let's look at our low E string that we just played. All right, there's my E right there. And if I go up one fret, so to fret number 1, I'm going up what's called a half step. Sometimes you call it a semitone. And that's the smallest jump in between notes that we have in Western music, okay? So on the piano, that works out to the distance between each key. So from C to C sharp, rather, is a semitone, half step. C sharp to D, same thing. Half step, half step, half step, half step. So if I start on E and I move up one fret, that means I'm going up one half step or semitone to F. All right, so we have E, F. Not too bad. Fret number 2 now, we're going to F sharp. We could also call that G flat, and it'd be totally right. After that, where do I go? G. Okay, so my 3rd fret, I went from low E, fret 1, 2, 3. to G. Now, you could, if that all makes sense, you can do that all the way up the string. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. You could do that all the time. But we also have little markers on the guitar that we should use to our advantage. So you usually have something special on the 12th fret. And the reason why it's special, sometimes it's 2 dots or a design. You see the front face of my guitar has no fret dots, except for at the 12th fret. The 12th fret is where I move. If you look at C, if I move up 12 semitones, I go all the way up to another C. Okay? If I move up from open to the 12th fret on the guitar, I started at E, I land at E, and then everything up here just repeats. Like, so here's E, there's F sharp, there's G. Okay? So I really only have this much to worry about. So I could just count all the way up, but I can also start counting backwards, right? If I need to find the 10th fret, I don't have to count all the way from down here. I could save some time and go 12, 11, 10. So 2 semitones. And I could go E, E flat, D. All right? The last thing is your guitars, and mine certainly has these dots across the top. It might be a little hard to see, but usually they're also inlaid on the front of the fretboard as well. I've got 3, 5, 7, and 9. So those are really good ones to start memorizing because I've got E, and I've got E, and if I memorize 3, 5, 7, I've got G, A, B, if I went and counted that out. So if I start getting comfortable with what the inlays or the dots are, then if I know like this is G and this is A, 3 and 5, then the one in between has to be, here's G, here's A, so that means my 4th fret has to be a G sharp or an A flat. Okay? Now, it's not too difficult to start counting this stuff out, but it is difficult to memorize. So start with the low E, and remember, you've got a low E and a high E. So if you do this one, you've also done this one. Okay, so you get 2 for 1. Then try the A string. All right, so just start with those 2. Those are really important ones because we base a lot of chords off of those strings. So those tend to be the ones tend to learn first. And then that means you've got E, E, and A. And now you've got half of them done. And then just spend some time. Try the D string, try the G, try the B. And with a little bit of time spent on this, you'll be surprised how much better you get at this with just like a little bit of practice. Okay? Good luck.